You talk about dispensationalism and the millennium. Other people talk about being premillennial, expecting Christ to return for the millennium, do not describe themselves as dispensationalists, and often use the term historic premillennialism. What's the distinction in mind there?
I think that was popularized first by, I think his name is George Eldon Ladd. I know his last name was Ladd. It's basically picking up on the fact that even in the early church, there was expectation of 1,000-year reign of Christ on the earth, seen as a physical reign, and on exegetical grounds based on Revelation 20, which if you pay attention to the details, only really makes sense as a physical an actual period of time because of some events that play out around that. And so a historic premillennialist would see, they would expect a millennium. The difference between that view and a dispensationalist is they would not see that as being the fulfillment of unfulfilled promises to Israel. Rather, it's based on the basis of Revelation 20, which talks about a future millennium, and it describes Christ reigning. It does not specifically talk about Israel in that context. And so they would say this is just Christ returning, reigning on the earth, not necessarily fulfilling Old Testament promises. I think some of them would see the Israel of the millennium as being a reconstituted Israel, reconstituted around Christ. So it's not a national Israel. Instead, it's a believing Israel. So those would be some of the distinctions between a historic premillennial view and dispensational premillennialism.
Really the role of national Israel making the big difference.
Is it a fulfillment to Israel, or is it just Christ coming and reigning on the earth as something he promised he would do in Revelation, but not necessarily in connection to the Old Testament?